What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams here at the distance. I got a prediction video for you guys. This one is Wladimir Klitschko versus Samuel Peter, the rematch for the IBF, WBO, and the Ring Magazine Heavyweight Championship. All on the line this matchup. I think that Peter was IBF mandatory. But anyway, that's besides the point. The rematch scheduled for this Saturday will be on ESPN in the United States. I'm not even sure what time it will be, but overall it's an interesting matchup. I think in a way it's a little more interesting than Povetkin versus Klitschko, which was the original bout that Teddy Atlas had pulled his fire out of to, I guess, spar with Bruce Seldon, whatever. But overall, interesting fight because a lot of people are talking about it's a total difference between the rematch and this matchup here. See, in the first match, Wladimir Klitschko has almost perfected that style that he has, that stand upright, left jab, straight right hand, left hook. He's almost perfected that style. I wouldn't say he's perfected it yet, but I think that he's getting much better with that style. And because if you look a few fights ago against Tony Thompson, and then look at the difference between that fight and against Hasim Rahman, and after Hasim Rahman he goes and he fights Ruslan Shagayev. It looks like he's getting a little more dangerous as time goes by and as time progresses. Each fight comes, it looks like he's getting a little more dangerous and perfecting that style now. I don't think he's perfected it the way that he wants to yet, but I think he's a much better fighter compared to 2005, of course. And with Sam Peter, I think that Sam Peter is better conditioned than he has been than he was in the first fight. I think he'll be better conditioned, but the question is he a better boxer? Both fighters have more experience compared to the first matchup. Both fighters have been in some interesting fights. The only fighter that they both have in common is Eddie Chambers, and they both have matched up with Eddie Chambers recently. Peter losing a kind of close majority decision, and Klitschko beating him by knockout after basically just dominating him. But styles make fights, and how does Peter's style match up against Klitschko's style is the big question. And how much better is Peter now than he was in 2005, and how much better is Klitschko now than he was in 2005? Something intriguing. That's what's really intriguing about this matchup is the question of how much better. When fighters get much better, and they get smarter with experience, and both fighters have more experience. Both have been champions, But Klitschko hasn't lost a fight since Lehman Bruce in 2004, and Peter has lost, 2 fights back to back. But I think those losses convinced Sam Peter to get in the gym and be more dedicated to physical fitness and coming into the ring in shape. Something that we're not seeing with Chris Areola. And we're not really seeing with Solis right now because he's blowing up to 270, 260. But Sam Peter's down to 242, and I think that's going to be interesting to see if the weight is playing a factor in in him possibly getting better and him possibly winning this matchup. So anyway, in this matchup, Sam Peter has to do a lot to win this matchup. There's a lot that Sam Peter needs to do and take away in this matchup. It's hard to take away that range in the jab, but he has to take away range. He has to take the jab away, and when he's standing in front of Klitschko, he has to take that left hook away. And with Peter being a smaller fighter, he has to throw a lot of up jabs. Some up jabs to try to set up some power shots and rough up Klitschko and try to get in close and take the jab away. But also, he has to really make sure when he throws his left up jab or throws a left jab in general, he has to make sure that hand gets back, to defend himself from the hook. Well, actually, he has to make sure this hand is up, the right hand is up, to defend himself from that Klitschko left hook. So he can throw the left up jab, but he has to be very clear of what Klitschko's going to throw back, and be very well aware of what Klitschko throws. There are times that seems that Klitschko is kind of telegraphing, but since Klitschko stands so far away and he has so much, and he's very rangy, it's kind of hard to negate that. So Peter has to stand in close. He has to throw his up jab, and I'm throwing a regular jab, but but he has to throw an up jab and set up like a big right hand shot. But he has to throw that right hand shot, and he has to time it very well. And other than timing it very well, he has to throw something behind it. He has to throw combinations when he finds openings and when he finds his range. I think that the up jabs could find openings for Sam Peter, could find openings for the right hand and the left hand. And we know that Sam Peter throws like a kind of pretty much a monstrous right roundhouse punch. And if it does, and also what's interesting is the fact that Peter's the last person to knock down Klitschko. So we know that he has that one of those, at least one or two of those knockdowns were legit, but we do know he has the power to knock down Wladimir Klitschko. But the mistake that Sam Peter cannot make in this matchup is going directly after the chin. He has to focus on boxing and winning rounds. That's primarily what Sam Peter has to focus on in this matchup. Not knocking out Klitschko, winning rounds, and winning these rounds convincingly. Not giving Klitschko a chance to get off. And definitely not letting Klitschko get off first. Because if Klitschko gets off first, then that's dangerous for Sam Peter. Because especially, I think that this is going to be pretty much is going to be a hometown fight for Klitschko. I'm not saying that the judges are going to be dirty, but judges pretty much look for fighters to get off first. But at the same time, if Klitschko gets off first, Klitschko's going to have his range. He's going to have his range, and he's going to be able to keep Sam Peter back. So really that's what Sam Peter needs to do: take the range away, protect himself from the left hook, and protect himself from the straight right hand. Simply just trying to work. I'm trying to work and going to the body at times, and setting them up for some big shots. Some big shots. I think that's really what Sam Peter needs to do. Set up the big shots, win rounds. That's what he needs to focus on. But the big thing he doesn't need to do is look for the chin, try to find that chin of Klitschko, because fighters have tried that, and all the fighters that have tried that have failed. Wladimir Klitschko, pretty much, I think that with him being the bigger fighter, he's going to have to keep Sam Peter at bay with the jab, because if he lets Sam Peter come within range, it's going to be dangerous. I think Klitschko's aware of that. He's aware of the power of Sam Peter, especially being knocked down by him 3 times. Like I said a couple minutes ago, at least 1 or 2 of those knockdowns were legit. But Wladimir Klitschko has to pretty much focus on pretty much that left jab, straight right hand. But he wants to throw that straight right hand very all of a sudden. He doesn't want to throw it, too often, but he wants to pretty much throw a lot of left jabs, kind of bore. And this is what Klitschko likes to do. He likes to bore his opponents just throwing that left jab and moving to that left side, throwing the left jab, and then all of a sudden just throwing the straight right hand. And sometimes just sneaking in the left hook. And we saw in the Ray Austin fight, Klitschko can throw that right hook and throw it all of a sudden. And if he lands 2 or 3 left hooks, then his opponent is going to be down for the count if those left hooks land as combinations. That combination left hook, which is what I would like to see Klitschko throw a little more often, the same hook that he put Eddie Chambers to sleep with. I would like to see Wladimir Klitschko go for that a little bit more and try to execute that left hook. I think that could be a more dangerous punch than a straight right hand. if he threw it more often and if he took the risk. But in this fight against Sam Peter, does he want to take the risk against the fighter that can knock him out, against the fighter that has power, and against the fighter that will come forward at least, I'd say, 9 or 10 rounds? And we haven't really seen Sam Peter go the distance since he lost all that weight, so we don't know yet. But the left jab, keeping him at bay with that left jab, and the straight right hand are pretty much going to be the bread and butter because of the range factor. And also try to sneak in that left hook. If he sees that opening with the left jab, and it seems as if Sam Peter anticipates it, left hook, it's going to be open. And me personally, I think that Wladimir Klitschko will win this matchup. I think Vladimir will take this matchup in the 10th round. I think he'll knock out Peter. I think he'll knock out Sam Peter in the 10th round. Possibly, I think we're going to see some straight right hands come all of a sudden and catch Peter off guard, possibly. But also, I wouldn't even be surprised if he didn't take the risk and go for the left hook or the straight right and just jab him to death. I wouldn't even be surprised if we saw that. But I'm going to go with Wladimir Klitschko, 10th round knockout. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. That was The Distance. Peace.